Hey guys, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Drag, and today I'm coming at you another Let's Play episode of Echo, and oh boy, I am really apprehensive about what we're gonna find today. But oh, first, quick, I have a question for you guys. Whenever I start a new playthrough for a character of a visual novel, would you like me to start from the very beginning, or would you like me to skip into the part where we meet the character for the first time? Guys, leave your comments down in the leave your comments down below. Let me know how you feel, and you know, depending on the majority, I will make my decision based on that. Okay, but anyway, let's get right into it, guys. Come on, let's do it. Alrighty. I'm also thinking of doing 2 episodes of Psychic Connections before I go to like my next, video. So like I'll have like 2 back-to-back episodes of Psychic Connections. Anyway, let's do it. Brian is breathing heavily next to me, and a glance at him shows that his expression is more interested now, almost eager. Duke still hasn't answered my question. It makes no sense that they'd go so far as to kidnap us. But why? Why didn't you just ask us? Why all this? I lift my hands weakly, making the platform rattle. Duke's face darkens. Because I've been asking Leo all week what the fuck you guys are doing, and he wouldn't say shit. Duke stops petting my arm and scratches behind his head. And, someone told me that you would know. I stare at him. What? Who? Someone I know, and it makes sense. Something bad happens, and if you don't fix it, it won't stop coming after you. I shut my eyes and almost sob. Says they know, and I thought it had to be Leo or you, considering what we've been seeing these past few weeks. Duke pauses. Or maybe one of your other friends. My mind briefly flashes to TJ. I don't know what you're talking about. I wait for another slap, but it doesn't come. I open my eyes again, and Duke is looking back out the window. We're kind of protecting you, too. I stare at the back of his head. Things are getting worse out there, and if we don't figure something out soon, we're all gonna die. Duke's voice is dead and distant. Brian, though, touches my other arm, and I gasp, shrinking away. He's smirking down at me, looking at my stomach, or crotch, somewhere around there. Brian, stop! Duke has turned back around, looking over me at the bear. We're not getting anywhere right now, and I gotta get back to the wolf. Even though Duke is the one that hit me, I'm terrified at the thought of being left alone with Brian. Duke sees my face. Don't worry, Chase. Even though you're lying to us, I don't plan to let this pervert have his way with you. Brian snorts. Brian knows what will happen if he does. Duke gives Brian a cold, callous stare, and this time Brian doesn't give his stupid grin back. But you better hope your fuck buddy says something soon, because if not, we might have to get mean. Duke heads for the door, turning to look over his shoulder. Just feed him and make sure he doesn't escape. That's it. And with that, Duke briskly disappears out the door, a golden flash of afternoon light lighting up the dim trailer. Brian and I listen to the weasel's soft, anxious footsteps recede into the distance. As soon as the sound is gone, Brian stands up. I turn my head in time to see him whirl around and smash his fist into the wall. Damn. I jump as much as I can in my restraints before he does it again, this time slamming both of his fists against the wall. Alright. I ain't saying that. I mean, I'm a part of that group, but I'm still not saying that. He screams so loud that my ears immediately start ringing. I think he's talking to me, so I brace myself for what I'm sure is going to be the worst moment of my life. But he stalks right past me, not even looking at me. Instead, he strides up to the kitchen counter. Once there, he picks up a dirty pan, then raises it over his head before bringing it down with a crash. I hear glass shatter before he does it again. And again, wait, is the pan made of glass? You goddamn cocksucking piece of shit! He said he had a high voice. He throws the pan across the room to crash into the wall. I'll fucking kill him! I'll kill that fucking cunt! Hello, demonetization. How are you doing? I stare at him, my eyes wide as I watch him stamp his feet like a little kid. Then he slaps himself across the face twice. After that, he closes his hand into a fist and punches himself in the head repeatedly. It's with a force that would knock me out cold. It might be funny if I wasn't tied down to a contraption in a trailer belonging to Brian. Brian stumbles after what seems like the fifth blow and covers his face. His massive shoulders shake with sobs. Thinks he can do whatever the fuck he wants. Thinks he can boss me around. Brian whirls around and slams both his fists into the counter several more times, the sound of shifting glass accompanying it. I'll kill him! Kill him! Kill him! His voice crescendos into a pitch and volume before he finally slumps against the counter, head in hands as he starts crying again. I breathe as quietly as I can, not wanting to draw any attention to myself. I'll get him. I'll fucking get him. Won't control me no more. Suddenly, his quaking shoulders freeze. Slowly, he turns, and with a sinking heart, I realize he's looking right at me. The fur on his cheeks, already matted before, are now flat and shiny with wet. Snot runs from his nose down to his upper lip. Then I see red dripping from his left fist. The fur on the right is matted with blood as well. He watches me for a while, then grins. Am I funny to you? I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. He suddenly strides right up to the end of my platform, standing between my spread legs. I feel numb, the fear taking up every fiber of my being. I feel nothing else. You like seeing him make fun of me? I try to speak again, but still nothing comes out. I swallow. No! My lips tremble and my voice shakes. I've never stuttered so hard in my life. You know what I'd do to you if I could? Brian sneers down at me, the wet fur on his cheeks bristling out. Oh, I swear to God, I'd fucking tear your balls off right fucking now. He rests a huge hand on my crotch and presses down. I cringe and whine. Please? Brian's grin only gets bigger and he rubs his crotch with his other hand as he watches me wince. Oh good, you already know how to beg. He leans forward towards my face, moving his hand to clamp over my mouth. And then I'd hang you for hours. I stare at him, breathing hard through my nose, tears leaking down the sides of my face. His hand slides down from my mouth to my neck and he starts to squeeze. Then I'd give you a little stool to stand on when you start to go out, and then I'd kick it away again. I gasp and gag, both from the wheezing and from his reeking breath. He stares hard at me, and I can feel his crotch grinding up against mine. He's hard. Then he blinks and slowly pulls back. He watches me gasp and sob for a while before reaching down again. I try to turn my head away, letting out a moan of terror. But he doesn't grab my neck again. Instead, he prods and teases the fur, shaking the skin on my neck. Better not bruise if that fucking cocksucker saw that. His expression darkens again. If you fucking tell Duke about this. He raises a fist and I cringe. No, I won't, I swear. I turn my head away, eyeing his raised fist. He holds it there for a while, watching me. He seems to be calculating something, like he's wondering if he can get away with what he's about to do. Then he seems to make up his mind. Good. With that, he slams his fist down right into the center of my torso, just below the ribs. My vision flashes and I hear a rasping, droning wheeze that I realize is coming from my mouth. It goes on and on until there's no air left in me, and then I can't breathe in again. My vision goes black as I suffocate, writhing against the restraints, wanting to curl up into a little ball and disappear. It feels like hours, days before I finally get a sip of air. My mouth gapes as I try to suck it in faster. Brian is standing over me, and I'm somehow surprised that he's got a worried look on his face. He probably thinks he's killed me. But then my stomach starts to turn, and I lurch. Before I even realize I'm about to puke, a gush of vomit fills my mouth, and I start to choke. Shit! Brian hurries to my side, and as I'm giving a second heave mixed with a gag, he tips the platform over sideways. His huge paw pushes my face to the side to look at the ground, and I watch as it all spills to the ugly shag carpet. When I finish, Brian slowly tilts the table back up, looking at me with disgust. At this point, I'm too tired to cry. Instead, I lay there in a daze, occasionally hacking or coughing. Brian goes to the kitchen, rustling around a while before returning with water and paper towels. He wipes my face and noses before tilting my head up to drink the water.
Rinse and spit.
He holds the mug there until I do as he says, then he gets down to his knees. I watch his head bob up and down as he busies himself with the mess on the floor, muttering about Duke finding out. I'm too numb to really care right now, though. Right now, I'm starting to realize that I might not survive this. Brian calms down pretty quick after his tantrum. Once he cleans up the mess, he splays out on the couch and starts watching TV. It's some kind of cartoon about a pink cat, and then he actually laughs along with the juvenile jokes. While this goes on, I lay quietly against my platform, trying not to start crying again. My mind keeps wandering back just hours ago, how everything seemed fine for the most part. I keep wishing I could go back to the beginning of the week. Thinking about that makes me sentimental, and I'm longing to see Leo, TJ, Carl, Jen, and even Flynn again. Where are they all right now? Duke said things were bad out there. Are they all in some sort of trouble? If that's the case, the cops should be here by now. Someone would have gotten the word out, wouldn't they? If people were murdering each other like what happened to Janice, there's no way that wouldn't be the case. Brian lets out another explosive laugh, wiggling his feet on the armrest of the couch. Earlier, he tried to feed me some dried cereal, but it was like cardboard in my mouth, and after only a handful, I couldn't eat anymore. I'm just thankful that he's preoccupied with something else right now. There's a soft knock at the door, and Brian jumps, quickly changing the channel to golf before he gets up and lumbers over to the door. He pauses, then rifles through some magazines on a small table next to the couch. He pulls out a handgun that looks cartoonishly small in his hands before making his way to the door. I weakly turn my head in his direction and watch Brian open the door a crack. He chuckles.
Well, it's going to shit and you're still coming here for more, eh?
Brian pushes the door open a bit more, and I catch sight of a skinny, malnourished polecat. Clint is looking up at Brian, appearing even more disheveled than usual.
So are we doing...
Clint had stepped up onto the first step and looked into the trailer, immediately spotting me. He stares, the shock on his face almost comical. Brian turns to see what he's looking at, as if he'd forgotten that I was even there. He gives a start before shoving Clint back out the door.
I'm full today. I already got someone taking your spot.
Clint's now out of my line of sight, but I can hear him shuffling around in the dead vegetation.
Please, I really need something right now. We can do it outside.
There's a moment of silence as Brian seems to contemplate that.
No, I got some business to take care of. Tomorrow, maybe.
Clint starts to whine again, but Brian swings the door shut with a bang.
Fucking dopehead.
Brian walks back into the room, looking down at me, then back at the TV.
Probably shouldn't have let him see you, though.
He mumbles before sitting back down and switching the channel back to the cartoon. I stare up at my reflection. Even from here I can see that my eyes are bloodshot, the fur on my face matted. There are dark spots on my shirt too, and distantly I wonder if Brian had broken ribs when he punched me. Then I remember that his hand had been bleeding when he did that. I feel strange right now. Numb. It kind of feels good after the whirlwind of emotions I had had earlier. I still haven't caught up to everything that's happened since I was in that diner. Would I ever be able to? Would I have time if Brian planned to? A tinge of panic pierces through my fog of disassociation, and I clench my eyes shut, screwing up my face as I try not to start crying again. Brian snorts again at something on the TV. I open my eyes to the distraught otter laying on the wooden torture contraption. Why is there a mirror on your ceiling? I surprise myself a little by asking the question. Apparently, I really don't give a fuck at this point. I see Brian look over at me from my peripheral vision.
You really want to know?
I shrug the best I can, continuing to stare passively up at the ceiling. The movement sends electric tingles through my arms, which are completely numb at this point.
Well...
Brian shifts around on the couch as he tries to get a better look at me.
When I has my fun, I likes them to see what I'm doing.
I stare up at the mirror, my expression still blank.
I mean, it's not just about what I'm feeling. What they're feeling is important, too.
Fear. That's what Brian likes.
Sure, I can choke you all I wants and cut you all I wants, but when I do that, you're not thinking about what's actually happening.
Brian shifts into a sitting position, now more interested in our conversation than his cartoons. I realize now I've probably made a mistake.
Wanna see?
I keep my face blank, staring at myself. I don't say anything. Brian gets up anyway and comes around to stand over me, above my head, blocking my view of the mirror. His reeking stench fills my nostrils, but still, I try not to give him the satisfaction of seeing how afraid I'm starting to become. His massive hands reach around my head and start to fiddle with something I can't see. With one quick motion, the strap comes back down over my neck and my eyes widen. I grip my teeth and try to press my head as hard as I can into the platform behind my head to lessen the strain. It's not a lot of pressure, but it's enough to make me want to gag. Alright guys, I'm gonna save it right there. Man, this is a fucking dark episode, Jesus. Ugh. Alright, so this is pretty much turned into Saw. Or something a little less hardcore. Damn. God, this is really bleak. I don't know how we're getting out of this mess. I'm guessing someone will come along to rescue us eventually. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what I can count on in this game. Oof. This is definitely not a happy-go-lucky game like the other ones I'm playing. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And please comment. Tell me if you would like me whenever I start a new character route. If you want me to either start at the very beginning of the game or to skip ahead to when I first meet that character. So, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!